Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Let's work on speaker.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryan, and the reason why I record my TED Talk is because that can motivate me to prepare for the TED Talk, because no matter what I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, so I will prepare it seriously. And today I dress as if I'm gonna run a marathon because I'm gonna tell you why should you run a marathon in your life. About 6 months ago, I am lucky enough to become the Nike campus ambassador, and one of my job is to run marathons. And before that, I thought marathon is a fraud, or marathon is a bullshit, because why would you spend $1,000 and then showing up 4 p.m. in the morning, feeling exhausted and regret it? I mean, you can have the same experience if you go to nightclub or if you go to bar, right? And I also think that running is also a bullshit. People said running makes you happy. Running helps you secrete dopamine in your brain. But I wasn't happy. But Nike is happy because I bought a lot of shoes because of running. So even though running is so awful, marathon sucks, then why should you run a marathon in your life? The answer is, running a marathon is like spending your life. If you run a marathon well, then you will have a better chance to live a successful life. So the first lesson marathon taught me is rest. We live in a society that encourages us not to rest, encourages us to work overtime, encourages us to sleep less. But marathon runners highly emphasize the value of rest. In comparison with other athletes, while I thought other athletes are working their ass off to be more competitive, marathon runners are inventing different kinds of rest. We have the rest that during training is called fartlek, and the kind of rest once a month is called deload, and the kind of rest before the marathon is called taper. The reason why we have so many rest is because we believe growth equals to quality training plus quality rest. And so the same equation applies in working performance, because in our daily life we have two systems in our mind. The one is task positive network, and the other is default mode network. And while we are focusing on something, while we are working, the task positive network is turned on, and it is good at linear problem, like if then problem, if something then something. If I don't eat, then I will get hungry. This is a linear problem, as you can see. And however, if you want to enhance your working performance, if you want to enhance your working efficiency, then you should use the default mode network, which is turned on while you are resting. The default mode network think in a different way, in a non-linear way, in a divergent way, in a way that helps you come up with some creative thoughts, helps you come up with some inspiration. So my advice is take a 10 to 20 minutes rest after an hour of focusing or working. I know it's been tough to work, especially when you are busy or when you are catching a deadline, but you will have a tremendous reward if you give it a try. And the second thing marathon taught me is infinite game. There's finite game and infinite game in our lives. Finite game is finite. There's the end, and there will be win and lose. Like basketball. Basketball game is a finite game because there will be a certain way to win the game and lose the game. But marathon is an infinite game because you're not gonna win the marathon. And during the marathon, there's no end in the marathon. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And so you can finish the marathon, but you cannot win the marathon. You can finish the 42 kilometers, but you're not gonna win the 42 kilometers. So most of the marathon runners view marathon as a long-term battle, a battle that will not finish. And during the battle, you may feel tired. You may wanna walk instead of run. But as long as you take enough rest and then keep running, you will finish the battle, and you will finish the marathon. But however, if you view marathon as a finite game, then you will be very sad, because once you stumble, once you hurt yourself, and you feel like, oh, I walk for a little bit, so I lose this part. So you will give up the whole marathon easily. But sadly, most of us think life as a infinite game, as a finite game. Like our society educate us to think life in a finite game way. Like our teacher educate us that, if you get a good GPA, if you win the GPA, then you will have a nice job, and you'll have a decent job, and you will have a happy life. Or your parents told you that if you get into a good college, or if you win the entrance exam, then you will have a girlfriend, right? Speaking of girlfriend, are Jerry, do you have a girlfriend?
I don't know.
No. Now imagine that you have a girlfriend that has been with you for 3 years. Do you have the image? Yeah? Yeah, okay. And then one day, she ran away with someone else. Someone taller, more money, and more handsome than you. And how do you feel now? Bad, awful, betrayed, right? That's because we think the problem in a finite game way. All we think is, how can I chase her back? How can I win her back? How can I win the battle? And once you realize that you couldn't, and you fail, you're loose, and you're a loser. You lose everything you dedicated during the 3 years, and you stop dating with new guy because you think that, oh, I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to get dumped again. But if we put our perspective on the whole life, our relationship life is infinite, right? The relationship is finite, but our relationship is infinite, right? So as a infinite game player, what we would think is, what can I learn from the failure? What can I learn from the failure of my relationship, and then move on? And you'll have thousands of hundreds of girlfriends if you are willing to try. And for another example, my example, about a few weeks ago, I went to Kaohsiung, and I had to take a license, the security salesman license. It's kind of no face. I failed the test, the exam. I got 136 out of 200, and the minimum score to pass is 140. So I failed. To be honest, at the moment, I felt like I fucked up everything. I fucked up the time I spent to prepare the exam. I fucked up the money I spent to go to the exam. But after that, when I calmed down, I realized that actually this is an infinite game. Like, I have infinite chance to challenge the exam. When I say that, does not mean that I should not take it serious because I can take it over and over again. But when I say that is, I can lose, and then I can go backward and think that why I lose, and then spend more time to prepare for it, which I should, and then go again. And when I fail again, then just prepare and then go again. So as you can see, marathon is like life. There will be we will stumble, and we will hurt. And there's moment that you thought, this is the worst thing. And then the thing got worse. And there's the moment that you thought, this is the biggest shit I've ever seen. And then there's a bigger shit waiting for you. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of moments we want to give up, but that is the moment we should take some rest and then move on. I'm Ryan, thank you for listening. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
How will you motivate people who doesn't like to run a marathon?
To be honest, I think running a marathon is just a hook to make you listen to me. Because the main point is rest and infinite gain. So you can understand the two concepts with other things, but marathon is just a half.
Well, I think it spends a lot of time before preparing for a marathon, and sometimes it's really occupied all of your time.
Oh yeah, it's fucking a lot of time because I spent most of my time training marathon last semester. I train 3 times a week, so every time it's awful. Yeah.
Do you think it's worth it for?
In the perspective of a college student, I don't think it's worth it. But in the perspective of life, it's worth it. I want to challenge the full marathon because the photo I show is when I'm running halfway marathon, and I think in my life I want to challenge the full marathon. Yeah.
So, I mean, if marathon's like a life, how about super marathon?
Super marathon, then it's
Super life.
yeah, it's more like a life because it's more than 100 kilometers. So you have to spend more time running, being bored. Yeah. Does anyone have questions? No?
Questions or comments?
Okay.